All right, well, I want to welcome everybody back to the next episode of the What Else Is New with Tim. I'm Tim Graves with Graves Golf Academy. I'm co-founder of Graves Golf Academy with my brother, Todd Graves. You guys probably already know this, but we founded this company almost 26 years ago now. And we started doing some podcasts here a few months ago and been pretty popular. So we're going to continue to do this and have a lot of fun with this. And today I have James Bell. I'm going to let James tell us, I can tell you his title, but he's a master fitter, master instructor with Graves Golf, and actually runs our golf schools here. He's a school director with Graves Golf. He's kind of a jack of all trades, kind of puts and wear many, many different hats. And then he's also a master fitter with Graves Golf. So if you guys see James at schools, or you're calling on the phone, or you have any issues with our trade in, trade up program or anything else, you're going to be talking to James. James is over here shaking his head going, yep. He loves it. I mean, he'll sit there and say he's got all kinds of stuff going on, but he loves it. He loves staying busy. So anyway, I want to introduce James. James, tell me, before we get into today's topic is going to be about just fitting, but more than just why you have to get fit or how you get fit. Some funny stories or some interesting stories about fittings and things like that. And we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, give me a little history about yourself, what you done with us with Graves Golf, and so on, and why they should be listening to you about fitting.
Why they should listen to me about fitting. That's
other than you're just a big guy and you can pound them all if you need to. But
that's intimidating a big.
Of course.
You can attacked by a giant koala bear or something.
So what have you done in the past?
Let's see here. Retired in 2004. I was in the Canadian military.
So notice that what he said there, he was from Canada. Yeah.
Originally from Goose Bay, Labrador.
Okay.
If you don't know where that is, go to Bangor, Maine. Go 1,000 miles north.
Yeah. So like really cold. Okay.
Yeah. Land of, minus 40, 10 and 12 foot snow drifts.
Did you play golf up there?
No, I left there when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Okay. That's originally from?
Yeah. Grew up in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, that area. Get in the military when I was 16. Yeah. Which is 16. Really early.
16. Wow.
So retired at age 40, had 23
16, why? Because your parents kicked you out of the house?
Pretty much. I don't think they could feed me.
There you go. Yeah, no doubt.
I could probably be it.
No doubt. Okay.
So actually get into military college.
Okay.
Get into a 5-year program instead of a 4-year program. Was going to be an engineer.
Okay.
And then quickly figured out that me and calculus don't like each other.
I was the same way.
Yeah. I had a story with that. The professor shows up and he's got first day of class and there's a giant black or a whiteboard. And he starts writing on it, and there's not one number in this equation that goes entirely across the board. I'm sitting there going, holy crap, what have I gotten myself into? And he talks facing the board with his hand over his mouth. So he mumbles. And for 90 minutes, he works through this equation. And next thing comes X equals 2 point number. And I'm going, what the heck? How in the hell did he come up with that? And it's the only numbers at 2 point number. And I'm going, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
You watch the airplane go right over my and go, done.
I had a calculus teacher who sent us to a lab, like where you can go get like outside of the class. Mm-hmm. And it was a foreign student came in that was teaching this lab, really smart guy, but he had a real accent. Oh. And he said, and we're sitting there, we had like 15 or 20 of us guys that were all athletes in this class, and it was calculus, and we were all just dumber doornails. We couldn't figure this stuff out. And he got up there and he's getting frustrated with us. This TA, he's getting frustrated with us. And he's writing on the board and he's sitting there saying, if you divide this by tree, and he's saying 3, but he's saying tree, what do you get? And we're not answering because we're lost. Yeah. And he looks at one of the basketball players in there, and the basketball player looks at him and goes, a couple bushes and shrubs. I got no idea. And literally the next class, the TA was gone. He wouldn't come back.
Yeah. We had another guy. We were sitting in our weapons. I was a weapons controller, so I yelled at fighter pilots for a living. But the basic school is 13 weeks, and the washout rate is 80%.
Ugh.
So we're sitting there. We're in the underground complex. It is after lunch. We'd all had a big lunch, so we're tired, and we're just dragging on. And one of our instructors, very heavy French Canadian accent, extremely heavy. And we're talking about tactics, and we're talking about acronyms.
Right.
So he puts the acronym up there, and the acronym was ZMC. Okay, easy enough to understand. But he starts talking about it. He goes, this number here is the IS altitude the airplane can go. And we're all looking at him going, holy crap. There's an acronym within the description of an acronym. We're screwed. So this goes on for, we're 20 minutes and he's trying to explain what IS is. And finally, one of the guys, Bob Harvey, a good friend of mine, he gets up and he walks up there and he says, Lieutenant, listen, what the hell? And he takes a chalk out of his hand and writes IS, the 2 letters. And Don goes, no, it's not the IS, it's highest. And he writes out the word highest.
Highest.
We're going, oh my God. And we're looking at him going, and Bob looks at me and goes, speak English. You pronounce the H. And of course, there's papers up in the air. And this is the first class after lunch. And everything gets canceled after lunch because no one wants to listen to this guy anymore. And it's like, okay, so off we go. So anyway, 23 years in the service. Get out, was here, Tinker. Flying with AWACS.
In Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City here, and got into the golf industry just before I retired. I looked at it. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to get into the club business itself, primarily teaching. And a young guy was working with Francis Tuttle at the time.
Okay.
And they had a golf program. And I met him he was teaching out at Silverhorn, and asked him, I said, what can I, what are my avenues? And there was a PGA USGTF. He says, if you really want to know if you like this or not, here's my curriculum. He handed it to me. He said, I've got a beginner class starting tomorrow. Do day 1.
Right.
So I said, well, okay. So I went and did it, had a blast. And this was probably in 2002. And then Cindy watched me do it. And Cindy's my wife. And she goes, that's what you need to do.
Right. So,
ended up going with the USGTF, which is United States Golf Teachers Federation. Went through the PGA playability test just to see if I could do it.
Right.
Passed it. And then next thing you know, a couple years later, I'm a master teaching professional with the USGTF.
Right.
And then Callaway grabbed me just after I retired, and they said, you need to come do club fitting with us. So I was out at the old Traditions Golf Club at the time. And I ran into Tom Funderburk, who was our fitting rep, or our Callaway rep for the area here. And he said, love to have you. Let's go. Sent me down to Callaway, got certified as a master fitter with Callaway with all the other tech reps in, I think it was late 2004.
Right.
And then worked with Tom and worked in the pro shops, Traditions, and then worked in another facility for a while and did golf lessons, running the golf shop. And then during the summertime ran the Oklahoma, North Texas, South Kansas, and just into the western part of Arkansas doing demo days for the summers. And I did that up until about 2016, 2017.
Right.
And then got picked up. I went over to Rose Creek for a little bit, which is a local golf club here. And that's where I met you guys.
Yep.
You come in one day. I remember you come into the shop and you looked at me and said, first of all, you were giving me crap because I wasn't charging enough for my lessons.
Right.
I remember that
Right.
conversation.
Right.
And then it was, you need to come to Callaway with me next. We're going in a couple of weeks, going down to get master club fitter certified. And I said, well, I already am. He says, you're not hearing me. You need to come to Callaway with me. I said, okay. He says, you pay for your airfare. I'll pay for the rest of it. And so we go to Callaway, and then you've got me going, and we're doing it was a fun few days in Callaway with the guys down there. And all of a sudden I look around and we're doing the test, and I've got you on one side of my shoulder. I got Shannon Friday on my other shoulder going, okay.
We're cheating off you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're cheating off you.
Well, I figured that out when you went, okay, boys, the answer to number 3 is B.
Yeah.
James says it's B.
Yeah, 100%. We literally brought James down there to cheat off him, because when you go down there, it's a 2.5 day, almost 3 day, pretty intensive training. And it's more than training about, people think it's about just Callaway product. It's not. It's like learning bulge and roll in a driver. It's like learning spin rates. It's like learning different, it's really characteristics of club fitting and a lot in general. And then Callaway obviously teaches you about their product and how they do their fittings.
Yeah, you run their protocols. But I think the biggest thing you get out of it is, if you're not used to using some of the launch motor equipment,
right,
is being able to look at the numbers without seeing the ball flight and go, this is what's causing it.
Right.
And it gives you that background.
Which is interesting, though, because we do a lot of static fitting here. And the static fitting we do is based on a model. And Callaway doesn't base anything on a model for the way they teach their fitting.
No.
And it's interesting because during that process, they literally learned from us. It was really cool. In fact, they brought a few of their guys who run the fitting program came in and, remember when we went that one when Corey came in? So I got 10 guys that are in the room, and we're we go through these different little pods, and like you go to one and you learn about TrackMan, and you go to one and you learn about another shafting, and you go to one, you learn about the driver heads, iron heads. Well, Corey, we walked in the shafting room, we're thinking about these 18,000 different shafts for these clubs. And we have the 10 guys in there, and Corey comes in and sits down, and Corey's just a super good guy. He's a super, super guy. And he runs the fitting program in the field, and he sits down and he sits down in front of us, and I'm waiting for this huge, like this great, this is the king of all kings fitting. And he sits down, he looks at us and he goes, how do you guys fit? And so we talked about how we fit. And he goes, you figured it out. He goes, you figured out. He goes, I don't know why more people don't fit like you guys do. He goes, I wanted to know how you guys fit. He goes, you guys have figured this thing out. Remember that?
Yep.
It was crazy.
Well, the biggest thing I got in with Corey's visit there, he goes, shafts are irrelevant.
He basically said, once you find a shaft that is good for you or fits the system, you time that shaft, you get used to that shaft, you love that shaft.
Yep.
And he's exactly right. He goes, guys try to artificially create different things by changing shaft upon shaft upon shaft upon shaft, and they never find it.
And then, they never give themselves a chance to figure it out.
Well, I'll never forget the one time I went through the fit. They brought me in. It was I brought Todd in there. And they brought me into the fitting center, and they said, okay, we're going to go through. And at that time, they actually didn't have TrackMan. They had that big system that was like a TrackMan. It was like
they used the optic system they've got on their golf balls.
Grandfather of TrackMan.
Yep.
And so it's this massive computer in this room, and they hand me a driver, and I hit it 3 times, and then they took it on my hand, and I go, well, that's not enough. And they said, yeah, it is, because what'll happen is you'll start timing that shaft. You'll start doing things more. You'll start using the downward deflection. He goes, good players or even decent players start timing the club. And I said, I didn't really believe him. He goes, I'll show you. And he handed me a light flex, senior flex shaft. And at that time I was swinging at 110 miles an hour, So I was in a stiff, almost extra stiff. And I started swinging. He goes, watch. And the first one was dead off the heel. The second was dead off the toe. And the third one was dead off the sweet spot. He goes, look, and there was cameras of this thing where it's hitting impact. And he goes, look, by the third ball, you had already timed to hit the dead sweet spot in the center.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And he goes, and it was basically almost a ladies flex shaft.
Yeah. Most of your better players will.
Yeah. And Todd even goes, that's crazy. And he goes, yeah, but because it was a real light flex or senior flex shaft, I was launching to the moon.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it down because I was overspinning it.
Yes.
But the point is that Corey, when he talked to us about shafting, he goes, you guys pick the best shafts. You get them into the guys would tell them what they need. Then they work with those shafts. So you get the best stuff for the equipment to fit their static fittings. And he goes, they're golden.
Yeah.
He goes, too many people try to take compensations and swing faults and try to repair it by shafting. You just can't. No. He was like, you can't.
There's certain things you can do when you're talking about hitting a golf ball and watching ball flight. If you're chasing ball flight,
right?
There's a lot of things you can do within the geometry of, especially irons,
right?
How you can configure the iron and what you can do with it. But from the shafting perspective, no, it's like find one you're comfortable with and just
right.
And even I wish the guys would hear me, listen. If you've got a shaft that you love and you buy a new driver, especially now with everything being interchangeable,
right.
Take the old, if you don't love the new shaft that comes with it,
tell the guys.
Take it out, put the old one back in and test it. And you'll find that it's like, oh my God, my best friend has come back to see me.
Exactly.
And I
always tell people that because I said, well, like every year, and it's literally like, it's like it's like a lease program.
Yeah.
Because every year, and we get thousands, literally, and you know this, we get when Callaway or whatever company it is releases a new driver at the beginning of the year, it's been Callaway lately that we've been working with. We'll get the new driver out and the good guys want it. And so they'll get it and we'll trade in the last year's driver and get a great value on it. And usually for $100, $200, they're getting that brand new driver after the trade in. Well, that new driver will have the new highest tech shaft we get for them. Like now the weighting will be similar. Obviously the flex is the same, to fit them, the grip size is the same, but it's the newer version of the shaft. And some guys love it. And some guys are like, I'm not quite sure. Great. Take the shaft you had from last year's driver, compare it. And then if you don't like that, if you like it better, leave it in and send the other one back.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many guys will call me up and say, I wish I wouldn't have sent that shaft back. I'm like, don't rush it.
Yeah.
Just hold it for a couple of days. Go try it. And it's probably a 75-25, 75% like the new shaft and they're good with it. 25%, they want that old one back. But if they keep it, they can just send the other one back. It's not a big deal.
It's like your old favorite t-shirt.
100%. 100%.
It's got holes in it. It's worn down.
But you're used to it.
But I love it.
Yeah. And that's what Corey, and we went into, that's what Corey was talking about. Corey goes, it's amazing how many guys will get new irons or will do stuff. And he goes, you guys try to keep a similar shafting for these guys through years. You know what I'm saying? Now, it'll be a different, like a higher end version, but it's the same flex. And, anyway.
Yeah. All the properties are the same.
Right. And he goes, guys will sit there and go buy $1,000 shaft for this driver. And they'll hate it. In fact, I had a gentleman out in Monterey who did the same thing. I fit him up with clubs, put a really nice shaft in his driver's, in fact, like I do with everybody else, a very high-end shaft, no upgraded, no charge like I do everybody else. And he hit him for about 2 months. Well, he goes to this demo day out in a private course. He's from California, but he's also a member of a course out in the East Coast. Well, he goes to this demo day. It was a member guest deal. He went out there, flew out there, did the member guest, and they had a demo at the same time. Well, one of the demo reps came up there, and this is very high-end. I mean, one of the top 5 private courses in the country, and walks up and goes, you have to have this shaft. And it was basically a $1,000 shaft. And you know what I'm talking about? It was a black TR. Okay. I mean, it was the highest high-end shaft. He goes, you have to have this shaft. Well, he's trying to sell him high-end dollar shafts because, I'm like, okay. So he calls you up and my student goes, I can't believe you didn't put this shaft in my club at first. I said, I don't think it really works for you or fits you. I mean, if you want me to send you one, he goes, in fact, I want you to send me 2. I want one for my set in East Coast, my set in the West Coast. I said, okay. So I sent him shafts for both of them. He puts them in there. Okay. It's the highest of high-end shaft. The shaft literally for 2 shafts was over $1,000. It was like almost closer to $2,000 for 2 shafts. Okay.
Yep. He
gets them, puts them in his drivers. I see him a week later and he goes, I can't hit my driver anymore. I go, yeah, you're right. That shaft doesn't work for you. I don't like it. He goes, I go, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work for you. I go, your fittings, your static fittings we did with the shaft I put in there fits you. And he put the old shaft back in and it was like just like you said, his best friend was back.
Yep.
And I go, see, here's what you've done. You've timed that other shaft. You like the other shaft. It fits you for your swing. It's not about the price of the shaft.
No.
It's about the fit of the shaft.
Yeah. And then it comes down, they'll start working with it. And all of a sudden they hit that, the one good shot on the range. You go, I got to have this. And they take it back to their home course. And they hit that one bad shot. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Yeah. They blame the shaft.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They blame the shaft. It's funny because Todd and I will take clubs like guys at schools. They'll hand us their club and it'll be some club off the wall club or something they got from a buddy or something they think we've never seen or whatever. And they'll sit there and say, I want you guys to try this club. This is the greatest club ever. Try this club. And typically it's amazing. Typically you step over this club and Todd will talk about this all the time. It drives him crazy. And the club looks like it's closed down because number one is we don't recommend draw biased or hook biased clubs. That's the worst thing you can do in single plane, like a really offset driver. But these clubs typically are offset drivers or fairways. And so Todd and I are like, okay, we're really going to hook the crap out of this. We just setting it down. We're like, okay, we got no chance. And then the second thing is they're handing us a shaft that doesn't fit us. It's going to fit them. Hopefully. Sometimes it does.
Maybe.
Yeah. But then the third thing with irons is the lie angles are always off. And so they hand it to us like, okay, we're going to heel dig this so bad. And so it's like, they expect us to be this, magician. Watch, he'll hit this club great. And then they get so disappointed when Todd and I try to swing this club and we're like, it doesn't fit us.
No. And you're sitting there going, okay, how many adjustments do I have to make?
No, I know. We're literally, do I have to try to cut this ball and get my hands higher to try to make, I don't want to hit this club like crap in front of all these people out here because they think it's a great club. But Todd talks about this all the time. He's like, I just refuse to hit clubs out there. And I'll tell you, the worst thing is for me is the wedges. Because a guy will hand me a wedge he built and the thing will be 4 degrees up and I'm going to heel dig shank this thing.
Well, you're just 6 degrees flat.
I know. I'm so flat in the thing. I mean, I'm a ton flat. I mean, he exaggerates. So I'm a ton flat on the wedges. And the thing is that like all our guys, I mean, our typical students 2 to 3 degrees flat in their wedges.
Yep.
I mean, wedges are a little bit flatter. And when this guy hands me a wedge, it's like 2 degrees upright. It's like 6 degrees off. I mean, and then now I'm swinging a 3/4. I'm trying to hit a flop shot with it. There's just no way. But anyway, so, we can talk stories forever.
Oh my God.
We can talk stories forever. So, but what I want you to do just for a couple minutes is, you do a lot of personal fitness. We do schools. You see them in person. So the guys will come to our camps, 3-day schools, 5-day schools. And, James sees them or Derek sees them, and really starts digging through their bags. And we always talk about taking excuses out of the bag. So that's kind of our underlying statement in here, our motto in here is that when guys walk away from a 3-day school or 5-day school, or, anytime they see us, we want the excuses out of the bag. And I want you to explain to the people at home what that means to you. So when you're sitting up in front of a classroom of 20 people in a 3-day school, and you're saying, folks, guys and gals, I'm going to do everything possible to take the excuses out of your bag, before you leave the school, or very shortly after the school. What does that mean to you? What does that mean?
I think the biggest thing is education.
Okay.
I mean, our students come in and they've been golfing. Some have been golfing for a week. Some have been golfing for 50 plus years.
Right.
And they know absolutely nothing about their equipment. They've run into somebody and they said, it's either their local pro, a guy out of the big box store, and they say, this is what you need. And they hand it to them. So we do a talk on the second day of the school. And my whole job with that is education. I want to make sure that when they leave that little session that we do, that they understand what we're trying to accomplish, what they should be looking for in their bag, how their equipment needs to fit them. And then the repercussions, if it doesn't fit you, how you're going to hurt yourself with it.
Explain that for a couple minutes, because that, to me, what you just said there is the biggest thing. Okay. Is that the repercussions, if it doesn't fit them, how it could hurt them. And now this isn't just us. This is entire golf industry.
Absolutely.
Okay? So we're trying to fit the swing you're working on or you're working towards.
The one you're working towards.
Right. And, everybody says, like, oh, I don't have it yet. Well, yeah, but first of all, and we know this, but I'll say this straight out. If you have clubs that fit the swing you're working towards, changes in the swing will be made dramatically faster. And,
absolutely.
And easier and dramatically faster. I mean, in fact, Todd used to get upset with me because I'd say you can't make changes without perfectly fit clubs. Okay. Yes, you can make changes. You're just going to fight those changes and the body's going to fight those changes. Okay. Yep. Because, the people always say, anybody says, what's it feel like when you hit a perfectly fit shot iron with a perfectly fit ball? Feels like butter. And actually people, hear the guy says it feels like butter. Like, that's what I mean, like slicing through butter.
Yeah.
If you take a good player or even an average player and you say, what do you feel when you hit a ball with a perfectly fit club? What did they say?
They had nothing. I don't feel anything.
Nothing, right. Because it fits you perfect. It feels nothing.
The club cuts through the ground like it's supposed to. You hit the ball in the center of the sweet spot. There's no torque on the head.
Right. So, but let's talk about this for just 2 seconds here.
Okay.
You said that a perfectly fit club will prevent injury.
Yes.
Okay. And that's huge for us because our demographic, obviously 90% over 50 years of age or older, 90% over 60 years of age.
And they're coming to us already because they already hurt.
Right. Most people, 90% of people come to us because of frustration or body issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, that's just the golfing population. Let's be honest. So tell me why a perfectly fit club will protect your body.
Number one, you take the vibration out of play. If you can take the vibration out of play, I talk of vibration from hitting the ground, vibration from hitting the golf ball. All that gets transmitted
it's the shock
to
the system.
The shock.
So and now if you're hitting digging the heel or digging the toe, so the line goes.
I haven't even got to that point yet.
Yeah, but you're digging the heel or toe, it's putting severe vibration in the body.
Yes.
And so you're putting vibration into the wrist,
elbow, shoulder, some cases lower back.
Yeah. I've actually seen studies, and people can look this up, where they put stress on the body. They showed the stress points in the body, and they've shown that people with a poorly fit lie angle will heel dig, and will go to the body. You see stress in the lower back.
And the guys that are suffering from it, you go to the golf course to see the guys that are wearing the tendonitis.
Right. Or
bands.
they'll be lifting the shots. They'll be casting
they're
because
doing everything they can to stop from hitting the ground or try and flip at the golf ball because it hurts.
Right. And then the second thing is the graphite.
Yeah, graphite takes 90% of the vibrations out of the shot.
Right.
Good shots, bad shots.
It's interesting. They used to have steel shafts that had those
Sensor,
and they literally did away with them because they showed it didn't create, or they may still be out there, but they basically don't say anymore prevent shock because it literally showed it did nothing for it.
Yeah.
So graphite protects graphite. In fact, and I'm going to ask you this, and without me saying it, what percentage of the clubs we sell do we have graphite shafts in them?
99.99%. Here's the fun part. We go into a fitting, and I'm sitting there. I'm talking with especially I'll get a gentleman in there. I'll get a younger guy, someone in their mid 30s and all that, strong, athletic.
Right.
And I'm going, okay, you need to change these out. You need to put graphite in there. You're playing 4 or 5 times a week.
Right. You're
beating the crap out of your body.
Right.
You need to put graphite in here. No. Why not? Oh, they're too. And he'll give me 1,000 excuses.
Right.
And then I'll look at him and say, everybody on my staff, from my 23-year-old young kid who swings it at 125 miles an hour to our oldest guys that are still swinging at over 100, all play graphite.
Yep.
And they're going, and you get this blank stare at them, and it's like, oh my God, really? Right. I go, yes, it's better manufactured. It goes tighter tolerances. You can do so much more with it. And then the fun part is I'll put a graphite shaft in their hand that fits them, and they're going, oh my God.
Right.
I swing it faster. I don't feel anything. I'm going.
It's the new age golf, because you look at college players, over half or more are graphite shafts. Yep. If you look at professionals, they're more and more going to graphite shafts. Look at Champions Tour, they're all graphite.
Yeah.
Come on, all graphite.
And look at the young strong kids on tour. If they're not going to graphite fully through their bag, the upper irons are all graphite.
Right. And it's
faster.
It's all I see. Because I mean, at my course I play at, I got a lot of tour players out there, and there's a lot of young guys and older guys. And the young guys, probably half have graphite. I mean, we're talking 20 something. The older guys are in the 50s, all the guys on the Champions Tour, and there's a dozen of them out there. they don't even look at steel. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, if they have a steel club later, they don't even swing it. It's like, no way. And now obviously in the wedges, I mean, where there's no, it's not an issue, but in everything else, it's graphite. So what else besides the shaft and the lie angle? What else is the really protection of the body that you see? Is there any? Because I look at the other protection is a lot of guys are still hooked in long irons. And they're trying to overswing. So they're trying to hit a 3-iron, a 4-iron, a 5-iron.
Yeah.
And how many of our students do you think should be hitting a 3-iron?
None.
How many should be hitting a 4-iron?
None.
How many should be hitting a 5-iron?
Very few.
Yeah. Even 6-irons.
Questionable at times.
Because as you slow down in speed or as you get older, that narrower sole is very hard to hit off the ground. And when you're trying to do that, it creates excess stress on the body.
Well, I think it's the overswinging that comes with it.
I 100% agree.
And it's like, we try to keep the game as easy as possible. We say our goal is to make this game as easy as possible. Right. And if you go back to the history of hybrids, go back to Dana Quigley. Dana Quigley's 30 years ago?
Right.
They started bringing out hybrids. He was hitting a 7 hybrid at the time, and he was getting teased beyond belief from the other tour guys. I mean, he had more head covers than they had anything else in his bag.
Right.
And he said, this is legal cheating.
Yep.
And he said, if they would let me hit an 8 hybrid, if I could create an 8 hybrid that would do this,
100%.
I'd play it.
Right.
I'm going, okay. Well, and that's 30 years ago. And technology has gone so far. More hybrids. Everybody needs more bloody hybrids in their bag.
100%, because they're so much easier to hit. But the biggest thing with hybrids is they hit with height.
Yes.
And so think about it. You have a 6-iron into a green. Okay, let's say you hit your 6-iron 150, 160 yards. That's probably typically what our student does, okay, if they're lucky. Okay, so, okay.
You're being generous.
Yeah, okay. But when they hit that iron, it's coming in, 50 feet, 60 feet high, maybe 70 feet high. So when it hits that green, what's it going to do, especially these new higher tech greens, runs off the back. Or worst of all, if they got a pin tucked over a bunker or a pin off a fake front or a false front, it's either going to skip off the back or hit the short of the green and roll down. All of a sudden you hit that 6 hybrid and it's going twice the size of that iron. Yep. I mean, my hybrids that I hit, my 5 hybrid goes 50% higher than my 5 iron. And when I swing it, I'm good. My 4 hybrid goes 75% higher than my 4 iron.
Well, you can catch your 8 iron down fairway.
I mean, I don't hit it high in particular, but my hybrids, I can get them in the air.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's interesting. I played in a tournament yesterday, and there was a little par 5 that it's about 530 yards long. And I hit a good drive down the middle, and I'm like, I think it was 210 out. And I look in the left side of this fairway, and to get to the greens over top this huge tree. It's Stillwater Country Club, really tight golf course, beautiful golf course. And I've got to hit this ball up fast to get over this tree to get this green. Okay. I mean, it's fast. It's like, basically you look at this and you're going, maybe for me, it's an 8-iron or 9-iron height to get over this tree. Okay. It's tall. It's 60 feet, 70 feet tall. And it's pretty close to me. And I get back there and look at it. I got 210 in the hole, or just under 210, not much wind. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's a 4 hybrid perfect for me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm telling you right now, 4-iron, there's no way on this earth I get close to get over this tree.
Oh no, you're taking a squirrel off the second branch.
No, exactly. And honestly, or from where I was sitting, I probably would have had to hit an 8-iron to get that right height. Maybe a 9-iron to get over this tree. It's that tall. Okay. And obviously I'm not a real high ball hitter anyway. 4 hybrid, perfect. Cleared up by 20 feet, little eagle putt, made the eagle actually.
Oh, but at you.
No, it was got a little skin on it. It was awesome. But the hybrid's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking the shot, and I'm like, it's really risk reward. Because I hit into this tree, I'm making bogey. It's everything. But so I know we're going long in the session, but and we'll have another one. We'll have another one or two. But can I talk to James forever? But it's if you give a quick story, I'll give you my quick story. If you give a quick story out there about fitting,
oh my God,
I know you got 1,000 of them. I know you got 1,000 of them. But I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you my story. Then I'm going to ask you a quick story.
I've got one funny one, and then we'll go from there.
I'll never forget the story. I've given this a few times, and those who've been in the school have probably heard the story. But I had this school one time that this is actually before you were here, like 16, 17 years ago. And I was doing a school, and we had an Asian student come into the school, and the student came in with his bag. And from day one of the school, he wanted me to come look at his bag. That's what I was doing things at the school, doing kind of in your position. He wanted me to come look at that his bag. I kept pushing off because we really didn't fit till the 3rd day of the 5-day school. And finally on the 3rd day, every day he'd come in and he'd want me to show me this bag. You want me to show me this bag? You want me to show me this bag? And he literally put it in front of me, and he didn't speak very good English, good enough, but I kept pushing him off. Like, I'll get to it. I mean, I didn't want to get ahead of the game. You know, how we work our schools.
Yeah.
So the third day, I think we had 15 people at the student. They're lined up at the school. And I said, okay, the third day afternoon, I said, we're going to start fitting now. We had 2.5 days to fit. I go to his bag first because he had bugged me. So I walk over to his bag and we unzip it, had the travel cover on it, still everything. We unzip the bag and open up the clubs. And I'll never forget, I looked at these clubs. First of all, I'd never seen these clubs before in my life. They were crazy. And come down and find out, they were gold-plated clubs with diamond chips in the face along the edge of the grooves.
You're kidding.
No, these clubs were crazy. I mean, more money in these clubs than my house was worth. I mean, probably all I'm worth total. I mean, it was crazy. Okay. I mean, because in Asia, golf is a status symbol.
Absolutely.
And obviously this gentleman could afford to come to school with this, spend some, anyway. But these clubs are crazy. And I remember looking at these clubs and going, oh my Lord. So I start measuring them. Are they the right length? Are they the right lie angle? Are they the right, grip size? The whole jazz. Are they
Please
the right
tell me
shaft
they were
lengths?
close.
They weren't.
Oh no.
And the problem was he was all of about 5'4" if we're lucky. Just a short guy. I mean, probably average age, for an Asian, super nice guy. Okay. But his clubs didn't get close. I mean, they were like 4 degrees too upright. They weren't even close. Because honestly, he should have had a club for our standards is probably half inch to an inch short of standard, probably at least 2 degrees flat compared to what standards we're using now. Callaway standards. These weren't. And no, here's the problem. I took one of them up to the shop to try to bend it. No chance. I knew the second I put it in the line loft machine, in the Mitchell machine, I was going to snap the head right if I could bend it all. I mean, think about the gold plated. There's no way.
No.
There's no way. Okay. These were not a forged soft head. Okay. And plus, it scared me to even put it in the machine. I mean, this club,
chip a diamond off the face of it.
I mean, at that time, I didn't know they had diamond chips, but after I started communicating with them, I found out because I was like, what are those things in the face? I was like, okay, anyway. So I bring this club back to him and I go, sorry, there's nothing I can do with these. They don't even get close to fitting you. They'd only fit maybe a guy who's like 6'1", 6'2", that swung at it pretty fast. It was like, I don't know what to tell you. So in my best English, I could tell him because he didn't understand me well. I'm trying to explain to him, I love your clubs. They're beautiful, but they're really worthless to you. I mean, they don't fit you.
You could have picked a different word than worthless.
I don't know what to tell him. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go to the next guy in the line. And this gentleman kind of watches me go to the second guy. And I start going through his bag. And honest to gosh, this guy basically had a Kmart special set of clubs in there. I mean, the old Northwestern, bought him probably 30 years ago in the bag, and probably longer than that. Brand new starter set of clubs. He was a new golfer. And I looked at him and they were the right length. They were the right lie angle.
Did they have graphite?
I think they had steel. I don't remember that for sure.
The old Northwesterns
but
were all
I
steel.
think they had steel. But I remember telling him, these clubs fit you. Now, I would strongly suggest some higher technology. It's a lot easier to help and also obviously technology to protect your body. But the length, the line angle, you can play with these clubs. And I remember looking at the Asian guy and he looked like I was whacked. I was nuts. He looked at me like he lost all respect for me because he's like, I've got this $1 million set of clubs here, or I'm not sure if they were worth unbelievable. And you're telling me they're basically worthless for me. Okay. And I'm going to this guy who probably has total in his bag $100. I'm like, yeah, they'll work. They'll work. I mean, I want some higher technology. I want something to help you for your body, but they'll work. Think about that. It's about the fit.
It is.
It's about the fit.
Oh, here's one for you.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever told you this one.
Okay.
We're in Seattle.
Okay.
This is probably my first venture up to the Pacific Northwest with Graves. And we're sitting there and it comes to looking, we got to go look through the bags of golf clubs. And we only had 8 students out there. So I didn't do what I typically do, which was go measure everything beforehand, like when we were doing the putting demonstration. So it's a surprise. It's open up the bag. Oh my God, let's see what we have here. I take the cover off of the travel bag this gentleman has, and I look down, and all of his woods, the head covers were bananas.
What?
They were they were a black head cover with a banana on them. Okay. All of his woods, his driver, and his hybrid.
Okay.
And I look and I pull the head cover off. I'm going, well, this is funny. And I pull the head cover off the driver, and the name of the club is a No Slice 'em.
No Slice 'em.
No Slice 'em. And I'm looking at these things. I'm going, oh my God, these have to be 20 degrees closed.
Oh, at least.
Yeah. So we're putting them they're offset 20 degrees closed. And I'm going, I've never seen this. I go, I don't know what to tell this guy.
Right.
I'm looking, I'm going, oh my God. So I said, okay, well, let's see him swing one first. This is going to be funny or hell.
Right.
So he gets up there and he sets up and he gets it set down and the toe is pointing at his left ankle for his driver.
Right.
I'm going, he hits this, he's going to kill himself or the person beside us.
A little left of him, yeah.
Or he's going left of left.
Oh, yeah.
And he makes this manipulating swing where the hands come wide open.
Oh, it's got to hold that face so open.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, he actually managed to hit that straight.
He had to hold on to that shot. I mean, that was the anti-release, loose distance, non-cat. Oh, my God.
The only thing that really, picture Azinger, with his hands so far
to the left,
over and just hanging on for dear life, right? So I say, okay, let's see what happens. And I was talking to him about clubs. So I put a club in his hand and one that fit him, and he hit it so far right.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I was like, oh, my God, he's going to kill someone on the other side of the range now. I said, I'm in a pickle here. But we worked with him for 3 days and finally got him into a full set of clubs that fit him, and he was actually hitting them straight.
Oh, you'd have to, because nothing would work for him. Not one of our training aids, not one of our, nothing, because if he's with that big of a hooked face club, he's got to hold on to that for dear life with the weakest freaking grip on the face of the earth. Oh, my God.
Yep.
And,
oh, yeah. Yes. And the other one, I'll tell you one of the story. And this happened in, where were these guys come up out of Dallas? Oh, it was here in Oklahoma City. A couple comes up. He's 6'5", maybe. And she's a former tennis player. And she's 6'2".
Athletic is
all get out. And they go, James, great. We're going to show you your clubs. We just got brand new clubs before we came to the school.
Yeah. That's.
I'm going, oh, dear Lord, I hope these work. And they pull out. And this was when PXG was just coming out.
Right.
So they pull these out and they've got $10,000 set of clubs. And I'm going, standard. I measured them. Standard length, standard long.
Right.
And his was actually 2 degrees upright. Standard length. And I'm going,
way too short for him. Yeah. Way too short for him.
And you watch them set up to them and they're bent over and they can't make a move through the ball. And I'm going.
So the athletic ability she had was just crushed because of her
taken
clubs.
Away from her.
Because of her clubs. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting there and you're going, I hate doing this. I'm going, but I'm going to, I don't pull punches when I'm doing my club fitting.
Neither of us do.
And I go, these are beautiful clubs. Don't hit them anymore because you'll be able to trade them back in.
Yeah.
Because PXG will take them back. I said, but these don't fit you. They're not even close. Yeah. And so I went into the demo bag and I found a set that fit him. I found an iron that fit him and made one up for him and put it in his hand. He's going, oh my God, this is so much different. I go, yeah, you can get into position now. And then he starts swinging. He goes, oh, this is golden. I go, so
the moral of the story here is, and James talked about,
oh my gosh,
we have I would say a lot, but we get students that come into schools, they're going to do this whole revamp the life kind of deal.
Yep.
And they come in and they say, okay, I'm going to go buy a brand new set of clubs. And I'm going to go, and then they come to the school. No. Now you can call us up and we'll get you some clubs to go to the school.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying, but don't be going to your local club fitter or the box store down the street, get those clubs and come to our school, because there's a high likelihood those aren't going to fit you.
I'm going to break your heart.
Yeah. We see that a lot. So, but the last thing, and then we'll do these again quick. It is important. And I want everybody to remember out there, it is critical that everything in your bag fits you. Everything from a putter to the wedges that match the set, to the middle irons, hybrids, fairwoods, driver, everything. And
heck, throw your golf ball in there. Even that's going to fit you.
You're right.
It's equipment.
It's equipment. And we fit for length, lie angle, shaft flex, jam weight, grip size, set makeup. We do it all. Because that's critical. I mean, I asked James this: what percentage of our students should be hitting a 3-wood?
None.
Yeah, I would say
that was harsh.
Yeah,
5% at most.
Yeah. Now some can hit off a tee, for accuracy. Yeah, but majority no. So, and the first time we tell guys you really shouldn't hit 3-wood because it's your 5-wood further, they freak out.
That's my first argument I get.
Yeah. How many of our guys should be hitting 3 and 4? We already talked about.
3 or 4. No, Actually, I'm going to go back and tell you another story here real quick. We had a hero club when I was in another facility, and we'd have the college players come down and they go, I want a 3-iron. It's going to have a 128 gram shaft. Right. It's got blah, 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 blah. They can't hit it on the golf course.
Right.
We had a 7-wood made up that had a stiff graphite shaft in it.
One of Tiger's favorite clubs.
Had it cut down to the same length as a 3-iron, and you watch them hit it, and they're blistering this thing downrange, dead straight.
Yep.
And I look at them going, why do you want a 3-wood or a 3-iron? Tell me that again.
Yeah. Well, Paradigm doesn't even make a 3-iron anymore. They don't even make it. So the new clubs, when you make 3-irons, is just a waste of money for the companies to do it. So I remember a couple of years ago, I was working with Ping, I tried to order a 2-iron and a 3-iron. And they're like, we don't do it.
They laughed at you.
That was a few years back. And they're like, they laughed at us. They go, no, hybrids are taking that over fairwoods. So Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for today because it's probably, getting a little lengthy on this one. And like I said, I'll bring you back pretty quick. But I appreciate it, James. You do a wonderful job. I mean, you got through the fitting and you're just amazing. And, we always call it the big teddy bear at the school, but he will definitely, when you get in that bag, and when you guys, anybody out there who wants to, email us or call us, we'll take care of your guys' fittings. The beauty of what we do is we don't have to see you in person. 95 to 99% of our fittings are obviously static fittings that we do across the internet because we're fitting to a model. And so when we fit to that model, your size, now, John's, Jim's, Sally's, and Jane's clubs are all going to be different because they all have different fittings. One may be tall, one may be short, but the club will fit you in the model perfect.
Yes.
And then swing changes are much easier to make. It's going to protect the body and make this game a whole lot more fun.
Yep.
And that's the key. And that's what we're all about. Taking excuses out of that bag, protecting your body, and making swing changes very easy for you. Yep. That's what we're trying to do. But James, thank you for being here
boss.
This day. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And we'll do this again soon. And we'll talk to you guys real soon out there.
Actually, happy golfing, everyone.
Yeah.